tell me of those men," said the abbé. "And remember, too," he added in an almost menacing tone, "you have promised to tell me everything. Tell me, therefore, who are these men who killed the son with despair and the father with famine?" "Two men jealous of him, sir. One from love and the other from ambition. Fernand and Danglars." "How was this jealousy manifested? Speak on." "They denounced Edmond as a Bonapartist agent." "Which of the two denounced him? Which was the real delinquent?" "Both, sir. One with a letter, and the other put it in the post." "And where was this letter written?" "At La Réserve, the day before the betrothal feast." "'Twas so, then, 'twas so," murmured the abbé. "Oh, Faria, Faria, how well did you judge men and things." "What did you please to say, sir?" asked Caderousse. "Nothing, nothing," replied the priest. "Go on." "It was Danglars who wrote the denunciation with his left hand, that his writing might not be recognized, and Fernand who put it in the post." "But," exclaimed the Dante suddenly, "you were there yourself." "I?" said Caderousse, astonished. "Who told you I was there?" The abbé saw he had overshot the mark, and then he added quickly, "No one, but in order to have known everything so well, you must have been an eyewitness." "True, true," said Caderousse in a choking voice. "I was there." "And did you not remonstrate against such infamy?" asked the abbé. "If not, you were an accomplice." "Sir," replied Caderousse, "they had made me drink to such an excess that I nearly lost all perception. I had only an indistinct understanding of what was passing around me. I said all that a man in such a state could say, but they both assured me that it was a jest they were carrying on, and perfectly harmless. Next day, sir, you must have seen plain enough what they had been doing, yet you said nothing, though you were present when Dante was arrested." "Yes, sir, I was there, and very anxious to speak. But Danglars restrained me. 'If he should really be guilty,' said he, 'and did really put into the island of Elba, if he is really charged with a letter for the Bonapartist committee at Paris, and if they find this letter upon him, those who have supported him will pass for his accomplices.' I confess I had my fears, in the state in which politics then were, and I held my tongue. I was cowardly, I confess, but it was not criminal." Okay, Caderousse, and listen, I'm not a trained professional, I shouldn't be psychoanalyzing anyone, but Caderousse says, he admits to being cowardly at the end there. However, let's just really not let him off the hook and show that he is admitting cowardice on his own terms. So, it's not his fault, is kind of his point throughout it all, until it was too late to do anything. When he says that they had made me drink to such an excess that I had nearly lost all perception. I mean, why? Let's really investigate that, Caderousse. If I'm Dante, and maybe Dante just recognizes it for what it is in the moment, but, why are they making you drink to such excess just to pull off this prank on Dante? It doesn't hold water. Like, they would do this to Dante when you weren't there if they really were worried about your involvement or knowledge of it. So his saying that they got away with it because they had made him so drunk, and if he wasn't drunk, then, he doesn't say this here, but it's kind of in the ellipses of like, if I weren't drunk, then I could have said something. I would have recognized it more, but they plied me with drink so much that I could only say so much in that state. And when they told me that was just a joke, what was I gonna say? And then later at the end of this passage saying that, yeah, I was cowardly, but you have to understand that the politics of that time were precarious. And you can't blame me for being cowardly because I could have so easily been seen as an accomplice to this. Who else would have acted differently in my situation? He is deflecting big time and trying to control the story a bit. But it's easy to see his intentions here are so transparent. Let's not forget, it's been a week or so of episodes for us, so Dante is holding over a large sum of money to hear this story, of course, and contingent on how Caderousse presents himself in the story is going to be whether or not he receives the money. So there's reason for him to make himself look better than he is, but I get the sense that he's the type of character that would do that regardless. But let's switch sides for a second and talk about Dante. There's this moment here where he realizes that he almost gives up his whole ruse by suggesting that Caderousse was there, and Caderousse is like, "Wait a minute, how would you know that? Who told you I was there?" And he's like, "Well, no one. To know that you needed to be an eyewitness. Is that what? Yeah, it's true. It's true." I mean, he's not bumbling like that. I'm obviously being a little silly, but what I want to bring out from that is that Dante isn't above allowing his emotion to get the better of him and potentially threaten his plans. If he can't hold himself in check, then it is going to prove to be a potential risk moving forward. This is just the first instance of it. We've still got Villefort, Danglars, Fernand, Morel, Mercedes, all these people to continue to trick. Will he? Well, actually, I don't know. Will he trick Mercedes and Morel? How far will he go to keep up his disguises? I don't know. The point being, like, there is a weakness in Dante. He might be the smartest man alive all of a sudden. He might be the most perfect master of disguise. He might have all the riches in the world, but his vulnerability is his emotions. That's the one thing he hasn't mastered yet. He gets them under control pretty quickly here, but, it's a chink in his armor, and I'm wondering if that is going to prove fatal to him at some point. Okay, we are almost in the middle of chapter 27, so let's just keep going. I'll see you here tomorrow. Until then, okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.